Hey guys, I am back. This is Tracilyn, also known as VCat, and I don't know if this is still within that the other video clips. I've been trying to catch up 2009 to 2012. We're almost there. I was talking about my friend Michael, who I love very much. He even pretended to, he kind of wore like an Elvis costume for me one night that I went over to his house. He was a very romantic gentleman. And he had a beautiful, I wish I could have an apartment like he did downtown Dayton, Ohio, because especially in the summertime at night, it was right by the river, and he had a neon light there at the window. If I could play my music and live in that apartment by myself, I'd probably get along with everybody in the world a lot better, because it was just such a great place to share time with. You know, very romantic riverscape is, you know, at nighttime especially. I was talking about Elvis movies and how I watched all of them. I was saturated listening to Elvis Presley music. I was constantly looking up images, meditating on him. I even had him and Marilyn Monroe decorated around my room. I am old school. I really was. Too much. I was overboard, saturated with it. You know, and what it was I was really attracted to was the inner spirit, just like the same spirit that is in Elvis and Marilyn Monroe. Notice a similar spirit that is presented anyway in their image, as well as Michael Jackson. You know, it's that soft, sensitive spirit is how I feel inside, that I have the ability and I want to continually tap into. It's what helps me to be Tracilyn in my own unique way. I don't want to be other people, but in my own way. Those two were very inspirational to me. Marilyn Monroe, of course, is absolutely beautiful. Elvis Presley is just one of the sexiest men I've ever seen, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me with that one. And I don't want to say I'm sorry for being in love with Elvis, but I just went a little overboard with it. And some of me, can I tell you that since that image is out of my life, some of the old Tracilyn is not here with you today. I wanted to go to a lot of the Elvis events, especially in August and stuff, you know, down in Memphis, and I still am interested in having like a 50s rock and roll style, you know, thing going on. And I love 50s parties and cars and guys who dress like that. So Brian Setzler is, I think, is one of the sexiest men on the planet today alive that does rockabilly. You know, I always wanted to see him live. Especially even at Christmas time. I love the way he plays music at Christmas. And I love the whole hair thing and the way guys wear their pants and dress and the whole style. Everything about the 50s is hot to me. So anyway, here's what we have to talk about. This is very important, guys. Girls, call the guys over to this video. This is very important. I have to let this out because I am sickened by this, okay? I am a transsexual lady, which a lot of people were still we're all staggering through life trying to piece all this together. What exactly is a transgendered lady? You know, there's all these different labels that you can put yourself under. Are you pre-op, post-op, full-time, part-time? You know, it's crazy. You cross-dresser, transvestite, you know, and this goes on and on and on and on. I am just Tracilyn. And can I tell you, it depends on the men that I'm with, on how far I'll go doing different things. I have different boundaries for different reasons. Understand that and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but not every man would I cross over certain boundaries. Okay, and I'm about ready to step up and talk about this. I'm sure you already get it. And then there's other men that I just couldn't deny, just because I would want to fully arousally be pleasurable to them. But overall, I'd have to say I'm not. And here we're going to just spit it right out. A lot of the guys that and people in general that watch transsexual porns. Let me tell you something about being a transsexual. Things are getting better, but when a lot of the transsexuals, because they cannot get through their transition without finances, right? They don't have the finances, so they got to make finances, and life starts to spiral down, and things get to be that hard. They usually turn into adult entertainment services, whether it's independently or if it's working under contract with other people. So you will find out that they are escorts is one position. They're doing a whole lot of different things within that business, like I was. I was doing a lot of role playing and BDSM and all that different stuff. And then you also have a lot of porn and adult films. Let me just say that I want to tell you straight up that because I did a lot of talking and I met a lot of girls in and out of the business when I was in New York and stuff like that. Can I tell you, it's very obvious that if you're a top, you are going to dominantly make more money no matter what business you're in, if you're independent or if you're working under contract. And what do I mean by that? A top is somebody who does somebody else in the butt. You know, for the most part, if it's a guy. If it's a guy and a transsexual girl, the bottom line is, and this is educational, if a transsexual girl is a top, then she's going to be willing to do a guy in the butt. I've made it very clear, as often as absolutely possible, that I am a bottom, which means that I don't do that. I may be open to a whole lot of other things, but that's just not my thing. To be honest with you, I don't like to use that part of my body that much. But I understand that men love what's between ladies' legs, whether it's a transsexual or a genetic girl. Guys love it. And I've learned to have peace with that. Understand that. I learned to have peace with that. But the performance expectations will never be there. There's two reasons why. When people watch porn, they're seeing what's captured on film, but they're seeing an illusion of what's captured on film, especially if it's photography, okay? You can do so much stuff. I mean, let's just wake up to this reality. You know, what we see on TV and what we see on videos, what we see in pictures, does not necessarily mean that is true, but it's dominantly out there, so guys have the impression, or people have the impression, that all transsexuals are tops. And all transsexuals have this wand between their legs and they're willing to massage the men. And that's their fantasy. Wow, you know, my girl doesn't need to use a strap-on. I can be with a transsexual female, and that does not make me gay. Listen, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I would have to say that in the world standard, that just because you're with a transsexual doesn't take away the fact that you're having a gay experience. And that's the way it is. You know, that might upset a lot of people, and I'm sorry, but it's a gay experience. Making excuses because this is a transsexual lady does not make it gay. No more gay than if your wife, a genetic girl, has on a strap-on. Okay? We need to get away from the labels is what I'm saying. Human nature is the same in all of us. And for some of us, it feels really good. If it's performed right, it would feel good in all of us. But let's just say that if it's performed properly, it'll feel great. Why does it have to be that you're gay just because somebody penetrates something in your rectum? Okay? I'm trying to make this as clean as possible, but to try to keep this from being edited out, know that this is educational, very educational. So because there's more money in that, because that's what people are paying for that experience, and they want to see it on film, and more people are going to be drawn to watching that in adult videos than the opposite, okay? In my situation, I'm a bottom. I'll tell you right now, a bottom transsexual, they might get upset for me saying this too, but from everything I've learned, you don't make very much money anywhere. Probably not even 50% as much as the tops, okay? There's serious money to be made if you're a top girl. And that's just the way it is in the adult film industry as well. Probably one of the better paying positions is being a top transsexual. And that's for all girls, okay? It's very popular, probably the number one sought after film, period, is of she-males, top she-males. Beautiful girls, and they do what they do to get through their life and what they enjoy doing. Hopefully it's what they enjoy doing. I'm full support of it. But now what that ends up doing is it's okay if people are watching this. I'm fully for it. It's art. But now people are under the illusion that every transsexual you meet is going to be like that. And I'm here to say no. That's not true. If I were to look at men like they're going to be in the worldly girl position, then why wouldn't I be with a girl? I didn't like being with girls because I don't like to use, I love girls, but I don't like to be with girls because I don't like to use this body part in that manner. So why would I steer away from genetic girls and now seek after men to do it with? I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but to me, I've thought this over and over again, and I have to say it'd be absolutely ridiculous. It's not who I am. I don't look at guys and say, well, I'd like to bend him. I guess sometimes I do. Sometimes I may look at a guy and say, wow, I'd like to bend him over a car, out here in the parking lot. But very rarely would I ever say that. Okay? If I do, it's in passing and in joking, and with a select few, maybe personalities that you see on television or rock stars or whatever you might say that about. It's just, if I'm being true to my heart, I am a bottom girl. Okay? I explained that I had a couple encounters with some people that I have met, probably 2 or 3 times, and I gotta admit, it was totally out of character, and I laughed about this the whole time. And they did too. We had a great time, but it was just that it was, different for me. Okay? Wasn't what I was seeking after when I started falling madly, knowing for sure that I was madly in love with guys, and I was never treated like, I was never asked to perform that way as a child growing up. It was always, I was the bottom. I'm more of a submissive personality type. So, understand, just because what you see on there is what you see. I wanted to give you an instance. Before I had my orchidectomy, which is a removal of the testosterone builders, can I tell you that I started communicating with people in the film industry, and you know what? They said, their exact words were, transsexual girls do it all the time. You can stop taking your blockers for X amount of days, and then you'll be able to produce the results, is what people want to see in video. They want to see education right here. They want to see a transsexual ejaculate. Okay, so the best way to do that is for a transsexual lady to stop taking her blocker, so that way it can produce that for the film. Then after the films are done, they'll do a bunch of them as quickly as possible, and then what they'll do is they'll get back on their medication and then go on through, and then they do this. I would never. But when I started talking to them about that, because I was, there's many other things that I could do and would do, but when it came down to that, I gotta say that once I started taking my hormones, I was never going to stop ever again. And the last thing I want to do is be able to ejaculate, and I'll tell you why. Because if I am, then I don't have enough of I don't have the chemistry right in my body, which is going to limit the results that I want overall for myself. I would not look like Tracilyn now if I were to keep doing that with my body. I would not look like Tracilyn now if I didn't use hormones at all. It made a huge difference. Okay, despite how you perceive me, it made a tremendous difference in my life. I do not regret it. I needed it, and mentally, body, mind, and soul, talking to all my professionals, it was the healthiest thing for me to do. And the doctor who prescribed them to me in the very beginning, told me straight up, don't you ever stop taking them at all costs. You continue on with this, or you were going to be so sorry, because she knew how important this was to me. This is a serious thing to do. This is no games. Okay? So I took a very serious step. I don't want to keep retracting it. So you can imagine now, okay, it's bad enough that I'm a transsexual trying to live in a world that is not educated at this time as it should be for me to survive in it. Well, what's happening now is my means of making finances using what I am is becoming even more minimized. And can I tell you that when you watch the films like that, it's one of two things: either transsexuals that are not taking that a great dosage of their hormones, or they're stopping their blockers for a season, or it's she-males, which will have, and there's different levels of everything, but basically it's people that, listen, it can be a transgendered lady inside, but it's going to be more, it's going to operate and function more like a guy's body because there's more testosterone in there than estrogen. And they're going to produce the results that the guys are excited to see. So you can imagine how I feel with that? Guys have that expectation now. They see that on a film. They want what they call a fully functional transsexual. Well, what they want this absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, they want a genetic girl. Can I just say this? They want an absolutely beautiful goddess of a girl with an Audi, is what it comes down to. And can I tell you, I'm going to tell you this right up. If it is, it's only a small percentage, but what they're thinking is possible is absolutely ridiculous. And I've met a lot of she-males that they will never take any of the prescriptions, and they are some of the most beautiful girls in the world that I've ever seen. I'm just trying to describe that this is what guys that are looking for. They want to find some of the most beautiful girls that can function like guys, is what they want. They want that experience that they see on the video. And I don't want to upset anybody here. I mean, I'm trying to get this out as respectful as possible, but can I tell you that instantly this affects me? Because number one, I'm a bottom, and number two, yes, I function. I still get aroused. I was never big anyway, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm above average because I've seen many. So I'm usually above average. But can I just say that, I do not give the end results like guys want. I always tell them you got to have a lot of faith and belief if you're going to be with me. And guaranteed you don't have to worry about a mess afterwards. So you can only imagine how many times the phone hangs up. You can only imagine how many times guys walk out of my life. They just wanted the experience. And I gotta be honest, I don't want to be someone's fantasy girl. I'd rather be someone special's fantasy girl, or maybe a lot of someone's, but by being who I am. I don't want to be an illusion of what I'm not. So I'm usually pretty honest and straight up about that. And I gotta be honest, sometimes I feel it's something that contributes in a way to me feeling a little bit bad about my circumstances. Not about myself, but bad about my circumstances, because I understand a guy's desires. I fully understand it. It's just that it's a shame for me. Because now when I meet men, I got a problem here between my legs that you might not be okay with. And then on top of it, if he's okay with that, the next question is going to be, are you a top? And if that's not suited response, a reply, you always will forget it. But if I were to turn around and say, well, with you I will be, then the end result is going to be, are you fully functional? Well, he's going to be disappointed with that. I can't win for losing. I did what's right for me, though. Understand that. I do not regret. I love my hormones. I have to take my hormones. And I had my orchidectomy done. And again, that's the removal of testes. And in the end, I wanted to make sure that I would never go backwards from where I came. It's kind of like anchoring a ship down in the ocean. So that can be a huge disappointment, even because I'm very open about that. But may I say, for many, many encounters, I have ways of faking it. So they had no idea. I'm letting it out now. Yes, I can't keep going. I'm away from the adult entertainment at this time. So may I just say that that all girls are very capable of being amazing actresses, including myself. I've mastered it. And can I tell you, it's not enjoyable on my end, because it's like people are expecting something that you can't deliver, and it kind of takes away from your enjoyment of the encounter. If I could be with somebody and they fully get it and they're okay because they really like me, totally different. Because yes, I still, still have, I still have an overwhelming, powerful feeling in the end, more than I ever did before, and I can go forever. The problem is, if guys aren't seeing the result, it's kind of, I always say you gotta look closer. Look closer, you see that? So, yeah. But you see these films, and then that just puts all these other standards and expectations. I mean, being a transsexual lady that is in the process of transitioning, it's not easy. My heart goes out to every one of them. As I started dating men more and more in my personal life, I started realizing, I'm not a 3-date girl. Either things are going to maybe be happening immediately, or maybe like this other gentleman, I wanted to get to know him for about, a month and a half, 3 months, and now I'm starting to get more serious. I want to talk to him. But I've noticed that a lot of times that a guy will take you out to eat, which is usually, in my situation, an unhealthy thing to do, because even though I love nice restaurants, and very seldom will I get asked to go to very classy restaurants, is what I love. And usually their portions are a lot smaller, and it's a lot healthier, a variety on the menu, and the view's usually beautiful. Michael did do that with me. He was outstanding. He loved restaurants, and he had a lot of great ideas, and I always made that very clear. Let's go somewhere enjoyable, where the food's a little more upscale, and that usually contents me, And but I've noticed that when guys would ask me, out on a date, usually it's always, do you want to go out to eat? I've never been asked, do you want to go jet skiing? Do you want to go for a ride on my yacht for the weekend? Or you want to come up to my cabin, for the weekend, or anything. I know a lot of people say, well, that's usually the next date. Well, for me, it's not like that. I'm not like other people. I very seldom do I get asked to go anywhere different, to do things that to me would, even if it was something as simple as, hey, do you want to go for a walk around town? I did get asked that when I would go to New York. You want to walk around Manhattan together? And I want to help the guys out here, because can I tell you that a lot of ladies, they might be okay with going out to eat. Maybe. But can I tell you that you don't really hear, even when I talk to my other girlfriends, you rarely ever hear, which I got asked a couple of times, is, do you want to go for a ride on my motorcycle? Do you want to go for a ride in my car? Or maybe have a convertible, You want to take a ride, go up to the lake? Do you want to go for a walk around town? You want to go hiking? I always joke around and say, when you want to take me jet skiing in your Porsche, then or take me for a ride in your Porsche to go jet skiing or whatever, something like that, give me a call. I joke around about stuff, but I'm just saying there's a lot of different things to do in this world that don't even cost anything. Just taking a walk around town or what have you. I was excited when somebody would ask me just to go to a movie, because usually it's a dinner date, and never bowling, nothing like that. Something fun because I'm a very unique individual, and and can I say that it's nice to know right up front that there's going to be something more involved than eating, because usually when you go on a dinner date, there's usually expectations on the end. It's like, now I got you dinner, now what do I get in return? And to me, I got to kind of chuckle about that and say, you just fed me all this unhealthy food. It's going to take me probably about at least 3/4 of a mile to burn off half of it. I'm going to have to work extra harder when I'm in the gym, or working out on the treadmill, this week, because you brought me to this restaurant, and now you want me to go back to your chateau, maybe, or here in the car, which I love to go parking. I've never even went parking or to a key drive-in, by the way. I always wanted to do that. Go parking in a very like a ragtop Cadillac, one of the old kind, at a key drive-in. I think that would be so hot. Because I never had the opportunity to do that. So anyway, it seems that after the first dinner date, a lot of times for myself, that a lot of the guys kind of, they want to get intimate. And for me, I got to be honest, that that's why I like to do other things other than just go on dinner dates. Because I like to see if there is compatibility at all, even for friendship. So that's always very important to me. So notice that, just make this clear. I don't want to ride this too much, but just because what we see in videos and stuff doesn't necessarily mean that it's true in real life. I mean, we're living in a real world, not this fantasy world that we see. And a lot of times when you see things in profiles and stuff like that, I don't want to upset anybody, but can I say, it's very few people that I've met in my life that were as real as I am. I mean, my profiles, I said this before, when you go on, it's me. I'm being Tracilyn. And I started out kind of like everyone else, kind of a little bit nervous about being fully out there. And the truth of the matter is, I can't live any other way. I'm tired of living in a fantasy world. I'm tired of having different accounts and this is my girl account, or this is my man account, this is my role play account, this is my business account, this is my account, this is Tracilyn. And like it or hate it, and it seems obviously more people hate it. So I've noticed that in our society it's considered to be very childish if by a certain age, and as we're growing older, a lot of this stuff we have to wean off, get away. You know, it's time to stop using the nookie, time to stop using the bottles and get into sippy cups. It's time to go from the sippy cups to a glass, or maybe just a plastic cup, then eventually a glass. And as we're getting older, we're going through all this shifting and growing. Can I tell you that when I tap into the spirit inside of me, and I'm completely honest with myself, I relate, especially more so with like probably children like that are like anywhere from 2 to 6 years old. But my therapist or a psychologist actually told me it was more like around 11. Like I have a mentality of an 11-year-old. When I can be myself, I can't explain it. I just feel so good. And I feel so good when I'm around people who embrace that and don't frown upon it. But can I tell you, and more so than not, and it's not the people outside my door, okay, outside out there. To be honest with you, I love everybody, but I don't care what they're thinking about me. I've gotten over that part. It's when I'm in my immediate circle. You know, if I'm not allowed to be myself within the house, or I'm going to be humiliated, made fun of, yelled at, or whatever, gossiped about, talked down about, I can go on and on. It's the same basic thing as just spoke negatively about. Can I tell you that destroys me? I don't want to be in it. That's not an environment of love. And I was going through that living at this place in Huber Heights. So it seemed everything that I loved to do, even running on the treadmill, was considered very childish and almost reckless. I already said that, you know, when I had my own life, this is what it was. I did so much with my business, you know. I was always trying to do radio interviews or you know, getting involved in trying to branch out my career, trying to get venues and shows. I didn't know how to set up a tour to go around the world is originally what I wanted to do, and do cruise ships and do military things. There was so much stuff that I wanted to do, and I was learning. I was learning as I go, but I was so stressed out from doing all that work when really I really just wanted to play and stuff, but that's why I did all the other stuff behind the scenes, so to speak. but I needed other things in my life. So, let me just give you a rundown of what my life used to be like when I had my own. I was doing, I would just say office work. How's that? Doing my bookings and website design, because I was always working on that. Anybody who knew me, friends that came over, they saw me. I was always working. I was a workhorse. That's all I did. I just worked all the time. So basically, I would do shows. When I was really busy, it was probably 4 or 5 nights a week. There's been times I did 6 and 7 nights a week, and then there was times that I was just getting burned out and I would do it 3 nights a week. But at least 3 nights a week I would be going and doing shows. And I would devote those days to that, resting, making sure I ate and worked out. I worked out every morning, just about probably anywhere from 4 to 6 nights a week. I would work out just very little, but I would go to the local gym, I would work out, get home, and get myself geared up and ready mentally for the night's performance. Make sure that my van was all ready to go, and you drive usually about 45 minutes or so, depending where it was, and set up. You've got to get there about an hour early. Some places didn't want you there that early. You could only go like a half hour early, and I'd go and hang out, talk to people that were there, and I have my things set up and ready to play. I'd do 3 or 4 hour shows. Sometimes it'd be 5 hours. By the time I get out, it might even be 6 or 7 hours, because all kinds of things can happen at the end of a show. All kinds of things. And they usually did. And sometimes I'd end up going to other people's homes, hanging out, sometimes crash there. You never know. But eventually I would find my way home, and I would sleep as late as I could, because sleeping and rest was the biggest thing that I needed, is what I realized, to keep myself energized for the show. Usually take cat naps. What I call power naps. I learned that from some people that I was dating. It could be a half hour, could be an hour, hour and a half. Take a power nap, wake up, and you're just a totally different person. So I love my cat naps. And so you're doing that 3-4 nights a week at least. And then on the days that I had off, usually there for a while, I started going to church on a Sunday. Big mistake, but I did. And I tried to get involved in life groups, and I was trying to get involved in different communities is what I was doing. That was not a big mistake. I don't regret those moments with these people that I shared time with. And I was so heavily networked that I would take time to go bowling, to go places. Maybe I drive an hour away to a different town that I might only play at once in a while, but now I'm going and I'm starting to have kind of like that ministry thing that I was already doing, and I would end up doing a lot of things with youths, going out, hanging out, maybe just going over to have a family dinner with them and then just hang out. They'd show me their things that they were working on, or I'd play with their toys, because I always loved children, and the adults at my shows always were fascinated by this. My kids love you when you come over because you're always playing with them, and that's me. I was looking for every reason possible to play with, to get back into my childhood years. I was looking for ways to play. And that would happen through my relationships with the people who would come to the shows, their children. So whether it was playing with matchboxes, playing with dolls, or squirt guns, it was always a blast. Sometimes we'd go swimming, all different things. Take them for rides in my car, haunted houses we would go to. All kinds of crazy stuff. And when I was at home, I would do things like I had a mountain bike, and I would go mountain bike ride, and I had my dog. So I would take my dog to healthcare facilities and let people, meet him. And, did a lot of stuff with him. So I would take him up in the mountains a lot of times, let him run. But understand this is in between doing all my office work too. Every day I did office work, every single day. So I was always doing stuff continuously. I don't like to sit idle. If I sit idle, I get depressed. I like to stay motivated and busy. When I was living in Ohio, I wasn't that heavily involved at that time because I haven't figured things out yet, and I needed time to heal, and I needed time to get my head straight and get put onto a track so I knew what direction I was at least going. All these other things would have come in time. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get involved in a lot of things that I should not have been. Because that's why I was down, because I wasn't doing the other things that I was passionate about. Hanging out with youth and children, you know, and going bike riding regularly, and wherever the mountains are in Ohio, I don't know, but and I didn't have a dog to play with, but I don't need a dog, but I wasn't doing a lot of the things I was passionate about. But can I tell you something, that I used to spend a lot of time up at the lake, and go swimming, and I'd take trips over to New Jersey or whatever. Ocean City, Maryland was one of the beaches that I loved a lot, so I'd get shows there, and I'd go swimming, hanging out there on my off days. I was always on the beach, and that's where, and networking. I was always networking. I'd be on the beach, he'd be like, aren't you the ones that just played at this venue here? Or didn't you play at that venue and that venue? You know, because a lot of people that are vacation, they go down there regularly. It was perfect, and I didn't mind that. When I would walk in my hometown, no matter where I went, they're like, you're that, you know, that person. You know, I love that. You know, and I always be like, yeah, I'm going to have another show here Thursday. You should come on down, or, you know, here's a CD. Or I was always, it's like 24 hours, 7 days a week I'm working. But I'm also doing a lot of the other things in life that I love. Okay? I would spend a lot of time sunbathing on the rooftop of where I live. I'd turn up usually my music. I listen to my music all the time. And I'd talk on the cell phone maybe for a while. And there I am, sunbathing right on my rooftop. And let me tell you something. That's very important, that I am being Tracilyn and doing the things in life that I enjoy, because it all boils down to the image that I'm presenting as a business person. Okay? And what I mean by that is, a lot of people don't understand, but me working out is shaping my body like an art piece, okay? And it is the image that I want to present. It also helps me with my stress and mental, especially when I'm overworked. Some people have intimacy, which that works for me too, but I like to do that after I'm already decompressed from other things. Then I'm more free with it. But I run and I exercise and I do stuff like that to mentally decompress myself. So body, mind, and soul. But this is going towards my image of who I am as I'm presenting myself, and image matters. Because let me tell you something, what you look like, what you sound like, all that stuff rolls into play as to, are people going to even come see you? Are people going to be willing to book you? It's the whole way around. This is all very important. So understand, this is my life. This is what I do. Basically, who I am is my product to sell, if you will, to survive. So working out is very important to me, and it was always a big part of my life. So understand, I'm living in a household where people are laughing at me about this. And you can say, well, just blow it off. Who cares? No, who cares and blow it off? But I'm going through a lot of other things on top of it outside. And let me tell you something, when you're living in your immediate quarters and people are like that, I never had to deal with that in my whole life. It was horrible for me to constantly go through. And because I got to the point and I realized my finances are low, the only place I could really go that I was really looking forward to eventually seeing, which I did, was Indian Lake. That's a beautiful place to go and hang out, but understand that's over an hour away. I'm on a tight budget. I'm trying to piece my life together and stuff. I know that the person helping me would be upset if I'm always driving up to Indian Lake when I ain't got no money and stuff like that. Ain't got no money. But let me tell you something. Believe it or not, and you can think this is as foolish as it is, but me, as a spoiled princess that I was, I got to the point where I'll say, you know what, I can make this backyard, or front yard actually in the beginning, I can make this front yard enjoyable. And I'll put on my bikini and I'll get a little bit of sun. And let me tell you, it's very important to me, because I got to carry myself everywhere I go, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And I want to look like Tracilyn. I don't want to look like other people want me to look. So you may want me to have absolutely pale skin, and that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I like a little bite off the white is what I say. I don't want to be burned, but I like just a very light tan. And so therefore in the summer, I would be devoted to that. And you might find out that I only lay out for 20 minutes or 25 minutes twice a week or something. Just enough to give it to myself. And can I tell you, the reason I'm saying this is, this was a big deal. I even had cops come over in Huber Heights to tell me that they got calls that there was a nudist out on the front lawn. And I'm kind of chuckling because I'm laying there in my bikini. So it was recommended to me that maybe I go in the backyard or whatever. Why? We got the front yard and this is a beautiful place to lay. It's our property. I don't know what was going on there, but I gotta admit that bothered me a little bit. That's not the only problem I had with the officers in Heber Heights, so you'll find that out later on. I had other issues with that. I can't even lay in my front lawn without a cop coming by and bothering me. Not to mention, when I did move and I found another place I liked, it bugged the owner that much that while he had the bulldozer over at our house and, he's picking up dirt, that he even, pretty much, he's working on removing tree trunks and stuff like that. He even dug up the dirt at the place that I was laying at. That evidently it bothered him that much. I don't know why, but I do know this, or even if it's true, but it appeared to be that way. And I'd love to share that story with you. I'm running out of battery and I don't want to keep this going too much longer. But can I also tell you this, that not only with him, but everybody that came over looked at me as being a lazy, childish person, laying there in the sun. I'm going through all the things I'm going through in my life on a daily basis, and if it's one thing that can give me, and there might be girls out there that get this, I've been doing this, I said even in my videos, I've been doing this with my mom almost since I could barely walk, okay, when I was just a baby. So this has been a tradition for me throughout my life. And listen, this may sound crazy, but I actually have to do it for skin conditioned reasons, and I don't want to go a whole lot into that right now, but being in the sun actually is therapeutic for my body. So it's very important to me that I take advantage of that when the sun is shining and the weather is nice, considering we live in a very seasonal area of America. But I heard a lot of harsh comments just because people would see me sunbathing, and not because I was transgendered, but I'm talking about in the household. Basically, I'm being lazy and I can't believe that she's out there and blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to go into all the details of what was said, but can I tell you, childish, ridiculous, lazy, I've heard everything with everything that I do. I can't help. It's not that I haven't tried. I'm trying everything I can to get my life straightened out. This is who Tracilyn is. I'm trying to enjoy my life. People don't understand, why was I writing those bad things on Facebook? There's nothing else for me to do. I can't do anything. I cannot be Tracilyn ever. Nothing I like. Hello to the rest of the world. I get it. Nobody likes me. And I'm not just saying that because of this household. I can go on and on. If it's not because I'm a transsexual, it's because of adult entertainer. If it's not because of this, it's because of that, it's because of this. There's a billion reasons why. I really do have stemmed back into, I am one of the most hated people in America. It's how it feels. Do you ever feel that way? Well, I feel that way. I ended up losing everything I have, and because I can't rise above it quick enough, I end up getting slammed into positions, no matter what I try, no matter what I do, that I have to oppress everything about life that I do love. See, it wasn't Ohio that I didn't love. It was living in that household. I couldn't get away from that household. The only way I could get away from that household is if I ended up living on the streets. Now, I'm going to share about later on about how I started to meet other people who opened up opportunities that I did not take a hold of, but I want to share that another time and share why I did not take advantage of that when I should have, maybe. Maybe. Okay, maybe. You don't know what could have happened. I am scared to death to live with anybody anymore. I want so bad to be able to take care of myself. Can I tell you, I've learned two of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my life was believing in God And the second one is caring about anybody else but myself. Because now here I am alone, by myself, and everybody's gossiping, everybody's pointing fingers, tell me how horrible of a person I am, and I did it all to myself. I made the choices. Now I live in a country I can't just go to a hospital and say, you know what, I had enough, can't take it anymore. Please put me to sleep. Can't do that here. Get creative though. We're not stopping you from being creative, but we're not going to help you. So basically, the way it feels to me is the whole entire country, if not the world, has turned away from me. A cold shoulder showed me their backside. Remember, I'm not a top. I am the bottom here. And I am in the bottom. And I'll never be able to rise out of it. I shared my life story with you guys because I believe that there has to be somebody out there that is going through maybe a whole lot worse. They're not alone. How in the world this could even possibly help anybody, I don't know. Because it seems to me that nothing that I've done has helped anybody at all. I wasted my whole life. I should have been very selfish with it, doing the only things in life that I love. I used to have money. I used to have a business. I had a dog. I could do whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. I was living an honest life. Could eat anything I wanted to eat. Now I became dependent. And I'll tell you what, even you watching this right now, if you're a person who's able to help others in your life, there's a good chance that you're using that position to dominate and control them. Human nature. I learned more than I cared to. It's not in my nature. That's how I have to believe in my heart that I don't belong to this world at all. Somehow there was a mistake made in shipping and I ended up here. And I'm ready to go. I need to go. I'm going to be sharing my Las Vegas time and some bouncy ball moments if there is time, but I want to do that tomorrow. This is about ready to be wrapped up. I am running out of time, out of resources. I don't even know if I have food anymore. I have been made nothing but a complete joke, taken advantage of. There are people who made a lot of money off of me. And they have absolute no compassion for anybody who's going through this sort of stuff. They feed off of it. And if anything, I left all this video for my son. I don't want him to make the same mistake that I have made. Don't believe in a God that doesn't exist. Get your mind in alignment with your heart immediately. Know who you are. Don't let anybody in the world tell you who you are. And live for yourself. Because everything around you is going to continue to keep going on. You're one person. You can't stop it all from happening. And I am a testimony of somebody who had a life, was a little off track, and needed a psychiatrist. That could have helped walk me through this, and I could have transitioned and kept my business. I never had to lose anything. Ever. Christianity is a poison to this earth. And the people in leadership know it. That's their job. A lot of people watch Joel Osteen. A lot of people watch Joyce Myers. You might not feel that way when I say it's the biggest mistakes in your life right now. I saturated my whole life, and unless you are willing to do that and apply their teachings 100%, everything that they say, into your life, you will never know that my words are true. If I had more time, I'd be able to compare and explain, because even to this day, I can't get their voice out of my head. The lies that I heard in their videos, can't get it out. Our minds are programmable. I was a fool. I fell into some kind of trance. It became very addicting. It took me up until Las Vegas to be knocked out of that trance. And I'll tell you what, it was the scariest thing in my whole life I ever experienced. I've never been so mad ever in my life. And I'm looking forward to share that. My process started at youth, of course, a little bit. So I always kept a curiosity going. Going to LCBC is where the biggest mistake started. You know, I don't care what anybody says. I'm here to say that that church is designed to oppress and suck people into surrendering their whole entire lives. Everything. And I wish I had more time to point out Christian lyrics. Most people don't understand the power of words. But the ones who do, use it. Unfortunately, they don't use it for wonderful things. But I've tried in sharing my life testimony. I love you guys. America. People in power. I know you think my whole video series is nothing but a big joke. But I know there's a lot of people right now today that are finding creative ways to eliminate themselves. And it pains my heart, because I know that there are ways that people could leave this earth peacefully. Transition on, go to heaven or hell, whatever. And we'll run to the rescue of people who lose things in seconds. Meanwhile, we'll step all over the people who have been laying around for years. And we won't do anything to ease their pain. And I know that there's a lot of people on this earth. They're probably saying, I want nothing more than death. And the shrewd, evil people that are standing around are saying, well, get creative. Amuse us, entertain us.